good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for coming back. This is Chat with Matt. And today I'm joined by Bill Taylor. Bill, say hello.
Hey, good morning from San Diego, California. I'm a native Southern California beach guy. Never lived anyplace else.
So very nice. So we're lucky to be joined by Bill today. Bill works with Harvard Business Publishing and is a facilitator for online and classroom learning in the space of leadership and coaching. Bill, did I get that right?
You did indeed. Yeah, it's a real privilege to work with them. And the other half of my world is spent with Mentor, doing sales performance consulting and facilitation online and in the classroom. So I'm glad to be part of the Mentor group, one of your own.
Yeah, and a great team member. And actually that whole theme around teams is why we're here today, because you're going to talk to us about launching and relaunching teams, which is something hugely topical this year as we are more dispersed than ever. So first things first, give me your sense of what's going on in the business marketplace right now.
Yeah, Matt, I think it's continues to be a mixed bag from my point of view, which is I work globally with clients, but nationally, California just went on a lockdown again. We're in wave 2, and that's discouraging around the COVID environment. So we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. That's impacting business all over again, just when we had a little momentum. I'm seeing that, like you may be seeing this in Britain. We're taking a step backwards, and that's creating chaos. That's creating some indecision around the business world. My business has been impacted dramatically as an independent consultant, but I'm starting to see very encouraging signs of doing more online work. I'm an executive coach as well as a facilitator, and I'm seeing that work stay pretty steady. But overall, I think that there's a pause, what I would call a pause effect going on right now because of the COVID next wave hitting us, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, on the very first chat with Matt, we had Chris Norton, and we talked about this theme. If you've listened to it, we talked about this theme of optimism. And I'm still getting a great sense that it's a really difficult year, 2020.
It is.
And yet there's still optimism across a lot of the business community over what might be as we move forward. And I think if nothing else, we've got to hold on to that optimism, because without that, what have we got, right?
Yeah, Matt, that's well spoken. I call it cautious optimism. I call it kind of a sober optimism. I'm excited about the work I'm doing with Mentor Group and some of the work I'm doing with other clients. It's encouraging, but I think there's also a bit of a sober cloud hanging over it, given the fact that people are back in the hospital again. Yeah. But I think there's two things going on, an interesting tension, a dialectical tension between, okay, we're up and going, but secondly, oops, looks like we're taking a step backwards.
Yeah, we've always got to keep that balance of what's going on, and you know, in the face of optimism, we've also got to be realistic. So it's a good point, well made. Now, kudos to you. You're a great team player. You've been working with us for a year, and you're a great team player. I'd like to hear from you about what you think makes a great team, either from a new team when you're launching, or as we move forward in 2020 and we relaunch our teams. What makes for a great team?
Yeah, I really appreciate that question, because I have lived my life being on a team. I was an athlete in school and college, and even tried out professionally. And so teams mean a great deal for me. I have a very strong team affiliation need. So being part of Mentor Group is a big deal for me to affiliate. But I think there's a ton of research out there that you can find. There's no end of work done about what's the best way to create a high-performing team. And there's kind of 5 or 6 elements that every team has, and there's one that stands out above the others. So let's first start with the most important one. And this research was done by Dr. Amy Edmondson at Harvard University, at Harvard Business School, as well as Google did a 3-year longitudinal study across 2,000 teams. And they found out the number one high-performing character trait was psychological safety, the ability for people to feel safe, to share their views without fear of retribution, to have high levels of trust. The second, in no particular order, is they handle conflict well. High-performing, healthy teams handle conflict. Call that a constructive contention. They have commitment to each other. They are accountable, as well as they live up to their commitments. So they understand that they're committed to each other. And of course, lastly, they deliver results. And those 5 areas, I'll kind of include trust and psychological safety together, I think are a great way, a great litmus test for every leader on this call on this video to say, I wonder where my team stands on those 5 areas. And I encourage you to go take those 5 things and ask your team, how are we doing on trust and safety? How are we doing on conflict, etc.? That's a great way to figure out how to launch a team and create a team charter, which I believe is non-negotiable. Every time I work with a team, I say, can you please send me your team charter or your purpose? And they pause. And they say, that would imply I have one. I said, well, you know what? You need to have a true north. You need to have everybody on the team synced up and comfortable with, I know who we are, I know what we do, I know how we're keeping score, and I feel safe. And if they don't have one, then you need to create one. And especially in this time of COVID, 1 team's become 2, 3 teams have become 1. Everybody's been mixed up, and I think it's vitally important to recalibrate and relaunch the team. I have an axiom, and I don't know where I stole it from, but anytime you lose 1 member from a team that goes off or 1 member that comes on, Matt, you have a new team. And we often forget to recalibrate those teams.
So let me challenge you, because I think everything in life is negotiable within reason. But what you're saying is actually having a team charter is non-negotiable. You need to have that to be effective as a team.
Yeah. And I base that, one, on research, and I base it on 30 plus years of being a leader in the, I was a executive in the community banking world for many years. And secondly, I've been a leader and a regional leader, a national leader. And every time I've not experienced the performance I'm looking for and the results on a team, it always gets back to lack of clarity and lack of alignment. And I've been guilty of saying, yeah, these are all great performers, we don't need a charter. Well, I get what I paid for. And so I think it is non-negotiable. And I would push back on any leader. I'd say, look at your results and see if you have them or not.
So give me a summary then, Bill. If I'm a new leader, right, I've been maybe doing the job for a year or a few months or whatever, what one piece of advice from your 30 years are you going to give to me today to make sure that my team can be as effective as possible? Just one, if you can.
Just one. Alignment. Alignment. Do we all have a common understanding of who we are, what we're going to do, how we're going to keep score, and how we're going to behave properly to move toward the end result? Not only results, but psychological safety and trust. So alignment, I pull one lever, I pull alignment.
Okay, love it, love it. So thank you. So alignment, making sure that charter's in place. Love that message, very, very clear. Tell me a bit about you, Bill. So when you're not busy working for us and doing all your other stuff, what do you do to keep you interested?
Well, I am proud to say that I'm a grandfather of 3. And so I spend all the time I can locally in San Diego with our 2 granddaughters. I have a grandson on the East Coast that I don't see enough. Otherwise, Bill Taylor is on a golf course. I'm an avid golfer. I've been playing since I was a teenager, and I'm blessed with probably about 85 golf courses in San Diego to go spend my time. My favorite one being Torrey Pines Golf Course, about 8 miles from my house. So I love to play golf.
Very nice, very nice. Listen, appreciate your time. For all of you guys listening and watching, that's a really clear message. You know, if you've got the alignment, you've got the charter, then you stand a much better chance of your team being highly performing. These calls are always about, you know, those marginal gains, those one things you can take away to make you a better leader, to make you a better seller, to make you a better person, depending upon what we're covering off. Bill, it's been a privilege to have you share your insights today. Any closing messages before we wrap up our call?
I guess the one thing is I pray and hope that everybody that views this, Matt, would be reminded of the gratitude for what we have. We are grateful for what we have amidst this chaos. It's VUCA time. It's volatile. It's violent. It's uncertain. It's complex and ambiguous. So stay optimistic. Be grateful. And don't be afraid to give everybody around you a little extra grace and margin, because we're all not at our best in chaos.
I'm not sure I can add to that in any other way. Bill, you're a gentleman. Thank you. And thank you all for watching and listening. We'll see you next time on another chat with Matt. Thank you.